So, when I was a kid growing up in school using Braille in the 90s and 2000s, there were basically three options. You could either use a Brailler, which was basically the equivalent of a typewriter. You could use a slate and stylus, which was basically the paper and pencil. Or, if you were lucky, you got to use a note taker. Now, all three of these methods, they all had their advantages and disadvantages. Now, the Brailler, you just sit down and press the keys versus the slate and stylus where you just have to sit there, take your slate, line your paper up correctly, take your stylus through all the little windows of your slate, and make sure to punch out the individual dots of every single letter, number, or symbol that you wanted to do, which was cumbersome. Like I said, all three of these things had their advantages and disadvantages, and the slate and stylus is no different. For example, if you're not doing the Braille note taker mode, if you don't have a Braille note taker and you need to sit there and take notes, you basically just whip out like some paper, like a pad of paper that you might have on a clipboard or something like that, and you just pop the dots. Just sit there, pop the dots all through the meeting versus lugging a Brailler around, just bang, 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 bang. Even though the Brailler is a little bit more convenient than the slate, where you just sit there, like I said, and press keys. Braillers are heavy, Braillers are loud. Some settings, that's not the best option. Especially, like I said, in certain settings, in certain classroom environments, like if there's test taking or something like that, nobody wants to hear bang, bang, bang during a test when they're trying to concentrate. Well, then we have the third option, which is the Braille note taker. And I promise you, like I said about the other two things, advantages and disadvantages. Well, if you do hard copy Braille with either the slate, which is less likely to happen with assignments, especially in the 90s and 2000s, or the Braille writer, basically you sit there with an audience of people that may or may not know Braille. For example, you know Braille, but your teacher, especially if you're going to public school, like either your homeroom teacher if you're in elementary school, or all your individual subject teachers in high school and middle school, or even college, they might not know Braille. So basically, you sit there and type things out on a Braille writer, or maybe, if you're unlucky, on a slate and stylus. Somebody's going to have to put print on it. And since more than likely you won't be able to write print over your Braille, somebody's going to have to do that. And that would probably more than likely be a paraprofessional like your TVI, your teacher of the visually impaired. But they got better things to do. They got to help other students do stuff. They got to do this. They got to do that. They got to do meetings. They got to Braille stuff out for everybody else. So then there's the note taker method. Basically, you sit down with this thing and a pair of headphones. Or if you have one with a Braille display on it, you sit down and silently type out your notes or type out whatever assignment you're doing. And then basically you take your machine to the printer, print it out, give it to your teacher, bada bing, bada boom, there you go. And now there's less extra work for a TVI or any other paraprofessional to do. They don't have to sit there and interline your work because the note taker does it for them. And then, of course, the other advantage of that is, of course, because it is an electronic device, an electronic old Braille computer, you can sit there before you print this out, and before you print out a bunch of mess full of errors, if you're wise, you sit there and you go through your work and correct all your mistakes, and then bada bing, bada boom, perfect copy. Of course, I didn't really do that much. I just want to be done and go play and whatever else, and then wind up having to redo assignments and stuff, especially because I was dumb and just delete the work as soon as I printed it out. And then, oh, no, I can't reprint it. But that's my life, and that's another story for another day. Anyway, there were different types of Braille note takers back in the day. There were some with Braille displays, some with speech only. And then there's the matter of the keyboards. You can either get like a 6-dot keyboard, an 8-dot keyboard, or a QWERTY keyboard. The thing about software, that's a little different than it is today. Note takers today basically either use Android or Raspberry Pi Linux. And as far as software is concerned, it truly is, well, software-wise anyway, a Braille computer. Basically, if you need an advanced word processor, download it. If you need a spreadsheet maker, download it. If you need to do PowerPoints in an accessible way and you want to be able to read whatever background notes in Braille, download it. Basically, whatever you need, you download. Well, back in the day with note takers, what you see is what you get, for better or for worse. For example, some note takers might have advanced word processors, some do not. Some note takers might have a database/spreadsheet manager, some do not. Some word processors on various note takers do footnotes, endnotes, all that junk, some do not. Well, you get whatever they give you at school. You gotta kind of make the best of it. But like I said, advantages and disadvantages. You get to independently turn in whatever work you do. If you know how to use it fully, and if you're an advanced Braille user, you're basically set for life. And then, of course, unlike the Brailler, something small that you could throw in your book bag or just put over your shoulder in whatever carrying case it came with. And basically that's it. You just take it from class to class, do your assignments, print out at the end of the day, stuff like that. There you go. But then, of course, there's some problems. Note takers are great, but they don't do everything. And when you go to college or even high school and they start asking for more demanding work, eventually you're going to have to put the note taker aside, or at the very least use it as a supplement and start learning to use a computer. And if you're not learning to use a computer and all you know how to do is produce work on a note taker that may or may not fit the needs of the assignments that they want you doing with the formats and features that they want, you're kind of in trouble. Especially if you're going to get a job one day and they say, I want a report and I want this and I want that. Well, I don't know how to use a Windows or Mac computer or whatever computer workstation that they sit you at. And my note taker only does this, that, and the third. Well, that's not going to look good. So, yeah, I don't think really. It wasn't really a good idea back in the day. Or, today a little bit, to really get comfortable, get lax with note taker use. Note takers are good, but they're not everything. They're not a computer. They have their strengths, weaknesses, advantages, and disadvantages versus a standard computer any day. And like I said, in certain situations, it's best to learn how to use a computer. Even today, and put the note taker aside or use it as a supplement. For example, instead of using the note taker function, use it as a Braille display or a terminal with your computer or stuff like that. They should be teaching real file management skills and this, that, and the third, how to do actual word processing on Microsoft Word rather than having students rely solely on note-taking equipment. But that's just basically my opinion, and that's my soapbox. And that's how things went back in my modern day.